King Charles facing huge new Prince Harry problem amid royal housing conflict. Greetings from Royal Family led my channel. The shocking news that Harry's wish to stay in a royal residence in the UK was denied has given the king an even bigger dilemma. The king's youngest son apparently had nowhere to stay during his brief vacation earlier this month, and now Buckingham Palace is reportedly considering potential possibilities for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's future housing in the UK. Over the weekend, it came to light that Harry had turned down an offer to stay with his father at Balmoral on the anniversary of the Queen's passing after learning that his request to utilize royal lodgings while in London for the annual Well-Child Awards on September 7 had been declined. The Sunday Telegraph reports that a while back, Harry's staff approached the palace and expressed their desire for him to visit and stay with his father, but were informed by aides that they would need to submit an official request. It's unknown if Charles was aware of the correspondence. Harry was then invited to travel to Scotland to meet the King and Camilla, but the logistics proved to be too difficult, so he reportedly ended up spending the night in a hotel. The problem isn't just an embarrassing new chapter in Harry and his family's continuing conflict. According to the UK's Sunday Times, Charles' choice to keep his son in a condition of counsel after the Queen passed away has made things considerably more difficult. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel. The Duke of Sussex is one of 7 members of the royal family who can stand in for the king if he is away from home or ill, and as such, he is legally required to have a base in the UK. Following the release of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's explosive Netflix docuseries and Harry's memoir, Spare, Charles reportedly kicked them out of their Frogmore Cottage residence in Windsor earlier this year. Because the Prince Harry scenario is not something the law readily permits, we are really in uncharted territory here, constitutional law expert Dr. Craig Prescott told The Times. Since the law hasn't considered the possibility of the second son of the king choosing a life outside from royal obligations, I can see why Buckingham Palace might be apprehensive. Last year, the king had the opportunity to have the state legislation councillor remove him, but he declined. The potential of Harry and Meghan renting lodgings at Kensington Palace during any future visits to Britain was widely reported on Sunday, according to palace aides. According to a source close to the king understands that to remove Harry as a councillor of state would be seen as an act of antagonism, and he does not want to do that. If, as a result, a pied-à-terre needs to be set aside on the royal estate for his son, it seems like an acceptable course of action. The allegation was swiftly rejected by Buckingham Palace, which merely told the publication, "These claims are not true." Instead, according to sources, it's more possible that they will be given ad hoc, temporary access to royal property with formal notice. When his lawsuit against News Group newspapers for alleged illegal information collecting is scheduled to be considered in court early next year, Harry is anticipated to make his next trip back to his native land. The latest development in the royal predicament comes after questions were raised last November when the king added his sister, Princess Anne, and his youngest brother, Prince Edward, as state councillors of state rather than removing non-working royals Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. Typically, the partner of the sovereign holds the role of councillor of state, followed by the first 4 adults in the line of succession. It's widely believed that Charles decided what to do with Harry and Andrew after ascending to the throne in an effort to avoid escalating a contentious family dynamic. According to reports, the king and his son haven't shared a room together since the coronation in May and haven't spoken much lately. According to The Sun, a top assistant told Harry that none of the family's London or Windsor houses were available because most staff members were in Scotland with the King and Queen Camilla when Harry requested to stay at one of Charles' properties before the Invictus Games. The Duke was seen leaving St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, where the late Queen was laid to rest, after observing a brief solo vigil on the anniversary of the Queen's passing. Charles and Camilla took a private reflection at the tiny Crathy Kirk Church in Scotland, which was only 800 kilometers distant. Originally printed as King Charles faces major new Prince Harry issue amid debate over royal housing,